I guess it could be doing better, but six point two out of 10. That's about where we're at. That's what I'd say. Oh my God, hi, what's up? Hello, welcome to a Market Down production. My name is James. I am joined by what's your middle name?
Vincent.
Vincent, and we're here to talk about Raw. Raw's 30 today. It turned 30 years old, which is fitting because it's kind of past its prime and it's all
No,
downhill
no, no,
from
no,
here
no,
with a
no.
lot of
Don't.
aches and pains.
That's
Uh,
true.
and it just doesn't really get better. It really everything takes longer to recover from unless you're Cody Rhodes. But and Triple
Sure.
H, he might be the physical embodiment of the mentality that 30 is the new 20. But Vince's Lauren presence is the grim reminder and the lower back pain of
Hoofa.
reality.
Hoofa.
So what a fitting way to celebrate. We're great at birthdays here at the Market Down podcast. But speaking of Vince, a learned presence and grim reality, a guy who would hate my friend Paulie's girlfriend or disapprove of their relationship kicks off the show, and
Oh no.
he doesn't. Maybe he fumbles his lines. Maybe he doesn't. The mic fumbled his lines
Definitely.
for him, which was funny because he just powered through. He didn't realize it. What a non-pro to not. I've never seen a wrestler not realize their mic was off.
Right? They're always so
never,
quick to know
yeah.
it.
It's almost impressive because I'm like, how do they know? How do they actually know? It's crazy, but not Hulk Hogan, who was. I swear to God, this was both him and Jimmy Hart were Weekend at Bernie's. They were just lifeless bodies being dragged out
Yep.
by a puppeteer. Maybe a reluctant Triple H, maybe the influence of someone else. Who knows? We don't care. But it didn't matter. He just said, welcome to Old Timers Day, which is what it was this time last year, or whatever. It's the yearly bring back the same fucking people you bring back every couple months, and it's fine. We don't care about scandals here. You go away for a couple months and then that's fine. No one's truly canceled. You just go on vacation and that's all there is to it.
He
But
hosted
anyway,
WrestleMania already. Remember that with Titus?
yep, that wasn't awkward. That wasn't awkward at all. He came out at the WrestleMania we were at, or by saying
Yep.
we, I mean that I was actually at because you're at all of them. But doesn't matter. Kicked off the show. Blah blah blah. It was funny that his mic cut off. Good for him, right? You deserve a
Sure.
chance. Didn't happen. Bad on you, Philly, but that's okay. Uh, but now we're gonna get to the important stuff, and we're starting from the top because the show is very chronological, and because this is the best part of the show. And oh my God, we're gonna spend so long talking about it because there was so much to it. There's so much to unpack. There's so many jokes to be made. There's emotions to be felt because forget your stupid acknowledgement ceremonies. Forget the fucking Rock. Who is that guy, bro? That guy, Adam Sandler's a better actor than The Rock. Okay, can we talk about it? I'm like, what?
I
What
will
is this
not.
guy?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You're come on. And this guy, we want him to main event WrestleMania against Roman Reigns. Why? Why do we want that? Why do we want this freaking Disney actor messing up our WWE? Why do?
Adam Sandler did a Disney movie, didn't he?
Probably, I don't know, but he also did
That's
Eight Crazy
not
Nights, which is the only thing I'm using to base my statement earlier off of. Not Uncut Gems or anything like that. No.
You would have never seen that.
Just going based off Eight Crazy Nights. But anyway, forget your acknowledgement ceremony. We don't need Rikishi shaking his ass out here. We don't need that nonsense. We don't need The Rock.
Whoa. We
Okay,
always
sorry.
need Rikishi shaking his ass.
You know what? No, I'm gonna put Rikishi on a 30th anniversary of Raw Monday blast. You're a bad dad. Your sons are screw ups. But
at least when Rikishi nope.
Okay.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I think we know where you were going. But,
He did it for The Rock. That's
Yep. But yeah, we don't need any of that because instead we have a tribunal ceremony, I guess you could say, instead, where the bloodline, we're going to decide the fate of one Samuel Zayn Uso. And oh my God, this was fantastic off the bat. I am so sorry. I'm just pulling up my notes because I had to open YouTube for a sec to look at the chat. But this was fantastic. So Heyman's cutting a promo. He's a little all over the place, but it's great because it's Paul Heyman. You
Yeah.
know, he references ECW just to get cheap heat because I guess someone had to be a heel here. So he's getting his cheap heat. He throws away ECW to honor his tribal chief. He's like, I'm done with that. That's dead. It's in the past. I only care about the bloodline, which is fair. Which is fair. He has to do a lot less work with the bloodline, more
He's
facial
moved on.
expressions, less speaking. You know, but he is quick to state his stance on the matter, and he wants Sami Zayn out of the bloodline. He is sick of him. He doesn't trust him. He thinks he's a rat, and he has a video presentation if it pleases the court. And I guess it pleased the court, but to the point where they wanted to get through it quickly because, man, Paul was not keeping up with the video packages. They were passing him by as he was trying to cut his lines. But he had some good footage of, Sammy running away from Drew when he was attacking the Usos back before he was really in the bloodline, back when Jay was treating him badly and Jimmy was just being nice to him to, pander to him, but they weren't officially, he wasn't in yet. So he cowered away because he's not in yet. And that was what Sami Zayn was at the time. He was a little coward boy, so he would do that. Then they show, and this is one of the things that had me gushing over this because they show the promo from a couple weeks ago when they were hyping up the tag match with Cena and KO, where Sami was just so hyped that he was running to the front of the side of the ring, but the hard cam front of the ring, and he grazed Roman's shoulder ever so slightly. And just knowing now that was on purpose weeks ago is just such a nice detail because Roman sold it perfectly. It wasn't fazed by it. He was amused by Sammy's enthusiasm then. But with Heyman using this, twisting it, to fit his narrative, because he's the heel in the segment, he uses that to say that Sammy, that's an act of aggression. He is trying to assert dominance over the tribal chief. It was so good. And Sammy is just stone-faced the whole time. He just looks so sad, very stoic, very accepting. He's sad about what he's going through, but he's very accepting of it. He's not his normal squirmy, cowardly heel. He's not flailing around like normal. He's not moving the way we've come to know Sami Zayn to move, which is frantically and all over the place. He can't say a word without physically emoting as well. But he's very quiet. He's just telling the whole story with his eyes, and it's his turn to rebut. And he simply says, I have no defense. I'm hurt by what you said. The fact that we're even doing this hurts me. And that is my defense, that I have no defense. And it's just so fantastic. And this pisses Roman Reigns off. Yeah.
I have to interrupt.
Jump in.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I watched SmackDown and I saw what happened. Kevin Owens just, he attacked Roman. He took out Solo first. And earlier in the night, Roman and Sammy had their interactions, and Roman told Sammy, I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a temper, all that stuff. Go make sure the cars are ready, go make sure the jet's ready, go make sure the Usos are ready, all that stuff. So doesn't that create the out for why Sammy wouldn't be there to protect Roman at the end of the night? And beyond that, Heyman was also the biggest proponent of keeping Sammy in the bloodline on Friday.
That is true. That is a good point.
He said, I've never liked Shmooly, which is actually, I think, a translation for Sammy, by the way. It's not just him calling him a name. I've never liked Shmooly.
Well, I thought it was a nickname of Shmuel, which is
Samuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never liked Shmuley, but he had that great line of, isn't it better to have him in the castle pissing out than outside the castle pissing in? And great line, by the way.
Yeah.
How did that change from then to now? Especially his words were, especially right now when we're dealing with Kevin Owens. Why would that change from Friday to tonight? It didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I don't know if I missed something along the way. I don't want to take away from how great this segment was. It was amazing. I think I just missed something that got us here.
Yeah, that's the thing. And this is where I'm just going to give it a pass because of how good this was. You know, the original plan segment was canceled. This feels like a 2 week from now segment that got bumped up because of, you know, this out of shape fucking guy not being able to get in shape for WrestleMania, supposedly, according to misinformation. But that's the only thing I'll let it go. Or just the fact that, hey, he wasn't there. He got there late. And even though we know that he has plausible deniability because he was just following instructions and that's what he was told to do, that's enough for the, you know, manipulative narrative spinning lawyer, I guess, in this case, Paul Heyman, to use to do that. But yeah, that would be interesting to find out. And I trust most of these guys enough to think that they will, you know, find a way to tie that together because they've just done such a splendid job of doing that. But yeah, so Heyman just cuts this good, passionate, just promo that makes you fucking want to wring his neck. He was so good here, despite the flubs and the mistiming with the video and synced up, which is like, you know, I think you can blame AEW for that one. They've been taking notes, but I stole that joke. I'm not going to give credit to who I stole it from though. But Roman, you know, Roman is so pissed by Sammy's response. He gets so mad, which we haven't, even though he said he was a hothead on Friday, he didn't lose his cool like he lost his cool here. This is like the first time, I don't remember, like probably one of the Brock points, like stories, one of the 15 Brock stories.
I was going to say Seth, because he got annoyed with Brock. He got mad with Seth.
There we go. Nailed it. Absolutely. He was livid. He said, oh, like, just basically that he's like, the type of ego you must have on you to not fight for this, to not plead your case and defend yourself in the situation after I let you into my family, this and that. And, you know, and then he yells Solo. That's it. He doesn't tell him to do anything. He just yells his name, and Solo knows what to do. He doesn't rush into it. He takes his time. I wish the commentators played up that the fact that Solo likes Sammy and like he just doesn't want to show it or admit it to anyone, but he likes Sammy.
Yep.
But like I interpreted that pause as to him like being like, oh, I'm doing what I'm told. Like I don't want to actually do this, you know. But the fact, before we get into what happened next, because it's amazing what happened next. But all he did was say Solo, which means this was a predetermined, previously discussed thing. There was instructions given and there was an order given there. The fact that he didn't have to say anything besides his name means that this was premeditated and that there was always the chance of it going this way. And there was something that was going to happen either way. So that, you know, sets seeds for if somehow they don't recover from this and they never become fully the bloodline again, there's something there, you know. But let's just hope that never happens, because Solo walks over to Sammy and he does a scream. He extends the thumb. He is going to spike him. Sammy, crucially, again, uncharacteristically, he accepts his fate. He just sits there. He doesn't plead. He doesn't struggle. He doesn't cower like the chicken shit heel he was like 5 weeks ago. He sits there. He's going to take it. He's not even going to do anything about it. He's just accepting of what's about to happen to him. When out of nowhere, And the camera was so perfect for this because they were just close on Sammy and Solo, and everyone else was off screen. So from the camera's point of view, from behind the cameraman runs out Jey Uso to grab Solo's arm and stop him. The man who didn't want him in the bloodline, the man who hated him when he was accepted into the bloodline, the man who Sammy questioned how Usi he was, is poetically, fittingly, perfectly the person standing up for him in this scenario. He plays his own video package, and he does a. This is gonna sound weird, but he does a way better job than Heyman because he's not talking into the mic. So it's like they're just. It's almost like, bro, like, oh, I have this video I want to show you. I'm showing you. You're like, oh, like, but no, like, and I'm like, no, but wait, hear me out. There's more. Like it feels more like a regular conversation that way. So he plays videos, Sammy taking the Claymore for Roman, Sammy taking a chair shot for Solo, Sammy helping them beat RK Bro or Riddle and some partner because, he's kind of a slut in that regard. But, and all more examples of him helping the bloodline than Heyman had of him screwing things up for the bloodline. And it was beautiful. And he said, oh, I hated you and you still were nice to me and you still believed in me. You saw the good in me. That's what family does. This was the crowd erupted for this. This was
called him his brother.
Yep, called him his brother. Amazing. And he's like, if you want Sammy to stay in the bloodline, put the ones in the air. Whole crowd does it. Beautiful shot. So fucking cool. I loved this. And then the drunker of the two Usos raises his finger up as well. It's fucking beautiful. I really thought Solo was going to do it too for a second.
I was hoping for it. I was really hoping for it.
The camera, they did a single shot of his face. I thought it was coming, but it's fine. It's fine. They didn't do it. This shit was beautiful. I got emotional about this. Like, this was like, I audibly screamed. I was like, yes, when he grabbed his arm.
Yep.
I need to take a break from talking for a moment. So if you would please just talk about this.
So one of the things I immediately, I went to social media to see how other people were loving it, and they were. And I saw an alternate angle of it from behind the cameraman's back, like from outside the ring. And I got to give it to Jey. His timing was perfect. He wasn't just waiting for it. He rushed that table and he caught him perfectly. It was a great bit. If we can find the clip, I'll share it. Beautifully done. This is going to hurt so bad when it falls apart. Because we legitimately just want Sammy to be part of the bloodline. Yes, we want Sammy to betray Roman. Yeah, we want Sammy to win championships. All that. Sure. If you were to tell me that no, Sami Zayn is just going to be a member of the bloodline, period. He is a part of the family. He's a valued part of the family. He's going to help Roman with like his reign of dominance. I would be okay with it because it feels so earned. But guess what? That's not what's going to happen. Sammy will either get betrayed or betray them one way or the other. We don't know, and it's going to be heartbreaking. It's going to be heartbreaking for Sammy. It's going to be heartbreaking now for the Usos. It's going to be sad with Solo. And I think that's going to be the tipping point for Roman's reign. We don't know where it's going. It could be The Rock. It could be Cody. It could be Sammy. It could be Kevin Owens. We don't know. But we do know the moment Sammy is done with the bloodline, that's when the countdown clock starts.
Yep, beautifully put. I look, just to wrap up this part of the segment, Jey got through to Roman. Roman said, "You're not guilty for now. Prove yourself, make us proud tonight, do something to make us proud. And I don't want to see you again until Saturday where you'll have your final test," which I think is going to be amazing because I think that means it's going to be Rumble related, which means that the Rumble is going to be good this year and it's going to be story driven. I don't give a, with all due respect, which is a lot because you're fantastic. I don't care about Kofi's spot in the Rumble. I don't care about whatever bullshit Ricochet is going to do because I can't take him seriously as a potential winner. I care about the story of this match so badly. Save the spots like Casey Catanzaro do it in the Women's Rumble, okay?
Yeah.
This is a story Rumble. This is just recency bias of the hype of the segment. This could be the best Rumble in terms of story. Maybe ever. I haven't seen every single Rumble. I can't really say that with certainty, but I just can't imagine a through line better than this potentially could be. But so yeah, he doesn't want to see him on SmackDown, which is a key thing. So I feel like we're going to get that announcement on SmackDown of what his test is going to be, but I think you put it perfectly. We're going to get this heartbreaking moment. And it really is like, I feel weirdly emotional talking about this, which is awesome. Like, I'm glad that wrestling's doing that to me again, but I kind of want the Usos to just side with Sammy at this point. Right. But anyway, we got more time to talk about this because we still have to talk about the bloodline because it's not the whole first hour was just the bloodline, which I think has skewed a lot of people's opinions on this show, but understandably so, because this was nothing about this was bad. I will be the first to say I am very much a Roman Reigns hater. At least I was a Roman Reigns hater. He has redeemed himself with this heel turn, even though I have been sick of the title reign for all of 2022 up until Sammy got involved. He's not like, he hasn't like fully redeemed himself, or he has, but it's not like I love Roman now. It's just like, okay, like he's good, he's cool. Like, I'm accepting of him here and where he's at, and that's cool. But now I couldn't have imagined being this invested in what Roman Reigns was doing in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like it's this good right now. But anyway, we gotta just push before we talk about what happens next. Any other things on the segment?
No, you nailed it. This is peak storytelling for WWE. This is peak character work for Roman and Sammy and for everybody involved. I saw a comment from Eric in the chat saying that this is so little about Kevin, so it can't be him. I agree. It can't be Kevin.
He is the least likely.
Yeah, he is absolutely the least likely. But I do think he has an important part of this story, but he's an extension of Sammy's story. This isn't Kevin's story. This is Sammy's story that Kevin is a part of. And I think he is
a pivotal part of it.
Yeah, because if Kevin wasn't the challenger, there wouldn't be this level of discourse.
Yeah.
There just wouldn't be. So I think everybody is serving, from Solo to Heyman to the Usos to Sammy to Kevin to Roman. Everybody is doing their part here beautifully.
And it is
great work.
Because it's so story driven. If you want to say this is the best story in wrestling, I find it hard to disagree, which again, I never thought I'd say, but because it ties, Kevin Owens is so important to this because of that, and this is a coincidence, it was never a plan, but things have just fallen together so perfectly that so many years of history are being tied together here. Like, this is going to be like the third Rumble in like 7 years that Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns fight for the Universal title, which
crazy.
But it's in a case where I don't mind it. Like, one was like 7 years ago where the roles were reversed. One was 2 years ago where Owens got screwed in a really bad botch, but and now it's tying together. And the fact that Sammy just happened to get involved with the bloodline and get this over, and the fact that they both happen to be this over, and they both happen to be on this upward trajectory at the same time to come together. We've seen them fight with Owens as the heel and Sammy as the face. We've seen them fight with Sammy as the heel and Owens as the face. We've seen them team up both as heels. The one combination that we haven't had is them both tagging as faces.
Yep.
So, which we'll get to. So,
can I actually say one last bit?
Yes.
So sorry.
By all means. No, fine.
I agree with you on everything you said, and I still do. this was so much better than if we had gotten the bloodline ceremony or whatever
Oh
it was
my God,
going to be.
100%.
But I will say, I was so captivated by that possibility going into it. I've been wanting that, like, every member of the family bowing down to Roman moment, because I think it would be so much bigger when he does have that feud with The Rock. But this blew that out of the water 100%. I think that moment can still come, maybe at Mania, where they're all just in his entrance or something. But this was such a great pivot for whatever reason they decided to do it. Whether it's Rock can't be at Mania, or what I heard was that the elder members couldn't make the trip for some reason. Whatever it was, this was so much better than it had any right to be on such short notice. And this is when WWE tends to be at their best. So great work all around again.
Yeah, like this, all I could think of going into this was this is going to be the next festival of friendship. Like this just, and it was in just in different ways, but amazing. But to get to the match to follow, because it still involves the bloodline, they're defending their Raw tag team titles, just the Raw tag team titles, against the Judgment Day. Very keynote to just right off the bat, got to get this out of the way. Roman left the ring. He wouldn't stick around for this match because he's scared of Dominic Mysterio, because fucking ex-con Dom over here. Isn't it crazy how far Dom's come in like 6 months? It's so great.
Ray was holding him back. He really was.
It's so great. It's just I was trying to explain the Judgment Day to our sometimes friend in the chat, Kevin, and because he was like, so like the Judgment Day is good now. Like I'm like, yeah, it's so weird when they acknowledged how shitty Dom was, and they made that like the joke that they all pretend he's really good, but they know he's not. It's become so good. Like it's so hard to explain. It is just so hard to explain how this turnaround's happened, because there's nothing tangible to really grasp onto. But it's very funny that Edge being kicked out of the group has made the group better. It's just so funny.
And we were all terrified of it. We thought when Edge was kicked out that the group had like a month to go afterwards. Yeah. But they've really capitalized. And I know the comparisons to Hook are always going to happen because they're the two young second generation guys in their opposing companies right now. But Hook started the same way. Hook became as popular as he did because of a meme.
Yeah.
And now Dominic is the same thing. Dominic is finally catching steam because of the meme of it all. And it's working. And they're actually showing that they can take the ball that they're given and run with it if that ball isn't full of lead, which is what I think Dominic was running with for a long time.
I think Hook is still better than Dom.
I agree.
But I think Dom is being presented way better than Hook is. So, that's good. This should be a running thing where we just unfairly compare them to each other.
Week by week, who's winning that week? Hook or Dom? Yeah.
Yeah. Dom's been winning for the past 5 weeks, or way more than that, because Hook wasn't on TV for like 8 months. But
I mean, he's also been teaming with Jungle Boy, so I understand.
Yeah, but no, I like when heels and faces can team up. I am a fan of that. But Judgment Day come out. They have a Raw tag team title shot. It's Priest and Dom, because Dom was the guy in the end of the gauntlet match, so he kind of unfairly gets to be the one competing for the title instead of Finn. But that's fine, because that adds into the character and the joke of it all. That Priest is like, oh fuck, I got to carry this guy to the match now. It's fantastic, and it's made me. Now, I always thought Priest was good, but the gauntlet in this match has made me appreciate him so much more. He has put in some work. This match was so fun. The Usos have found their magic again, where like I feel like they're on a run of like, I don't care because I know they're not going to lose type of matches. So we're like, I don't care that I know they're going to lose. These matches are great. That's the kind of streak they've been on lately. And this match was so fun, so good. But Jimmy Uso had one too many drinks before going out here, and he got a little fender bender on the outside and blew out his knee or his tire or whatever you want, his wheel, however you want to complete this analogy. But he had to be taken to the back. Oh no, what are they gonna do? Oh, who's out there still? Who's out there watching their backs, needing to prove himself? oh my God, it's Shmuel Zayn himself making the save, saying, put me in the match. And Adam Pearce, being a fair general manager for once, is like, I did that for Dom 2 weeks ago. I'm going to do it for you tonight.
Yep.
Sami Zayn steps up for his team. The crowd goes wild. Another comparison is when Finley, of all people, let Becky Lynch in the 2019 Royal Rumble. It was like that kind of thing where it's like, yeah, go ahead. And the crowd's like, oh my God, this is amazing. We know what's happening. This is great. And it was. All right, he got in there, so beating up top. Yeah, I was too. They did a great job with that. And that's the beauty of this. All right, before I talk about the beauty of it, Sammy gets in there. He runs wild. The crowd goes nuts. Judgment Day takes back over. Jay makes a save. Beautiful, beautiful moment where Jay super kicks Dom, super kicks Priest, goes to super kick Rhea, and then bounces around on one foot, catches himself and like bounces around on his foot to be like, oh, like. And I was like, I really thought he was going to do it for a sec. He was the most believable out of everyone we've seen so far. Where I was like, he's going to do it. Oh shit. That was just such a so nicely done by Jay. Good props on that. Props on the whole match, but props on the small detail of that too. So they have, and then they have Judgment Day take back over from that. They have the pin on Jay, but Sammy makes the save, and then they hit the 1D where Sammy does the RKO part of it, or the cutter part of it, and they pick up the win. Sammy forgets who the legal man was for like 2 seconds, but that's okay. And they pick up the pin. The crowd goes nuts. Sami Zayn holds up the SmackDown titles, and Jay holds up the Raw. And okay, so I have a lot to say, but quick thing: only having one set of titles be on the line. Fantastic misdirect to make you
absolutely
think for the titles.
I was
it made the match
so
much more exciting.
Oh,
made the match so much more exciting. And made you worried because you thought it would take away from the specialness of having a potential KO and Sammy dethrone the Usos. But this did the opposite. It made you want that. It sowed the seeds for that beautifully. Sammy held the tag titles. He got that, and he posed with them. He did the pose with them. They did it together. It was a beautiful moment. The two guys who were at odds for the whole tail end of last year, at each other's neck. One didn't trust the other. All Sammy wanted to do was win over Jay's trust. After Jay went to bat for him tonight, them fighting together is beautiful. It's such good storytelling. It's maybe not the most complex storytelling, but it doesn't need to be. It was perfect the way it was. I wouldn't have changed a thing. The complexity of it comes in all the subtle things after, like Sammy holding the titles, getting that taste. He hasn't held the title in a long time. He hasn't reaped that benefit. Everyone else in the bloodline has won a title under being in the bloodline. Sammy hasn't. He got a glimpse of it there, though. He defended a title. He held it up. He celebrated as a champion. But he respectfully, because he is the good guy here, and he has matured so much in these last few weeks, he gave the titles back to Jay after they did the pose together to have that nice moment. And he's like, well, these are yours. Here you go. But there it is right there. And in just this one match, that little detail, well, not just this one match, in this whole first hour of this beautiful fucking segment, I'm more accepting of the fact that we might just have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn dethrone the Usos at WrestleMania. And as of right now, as of this Monday, maybe that changes after the Rumble, but as of right now, that is enough. That is okay. I want that. I really, really want that. I don't want Cody to be Roman right now as it stands, but I don't know. I don't know what I want with Roman in the titles right now. If it's not Sammy, but I do want this tag title match now. This was perfect. This was beautiful. I just didn't think I could enjoy this that much or care this much. So it's beautiful. I want to apologize. I want to apologize to the bloodline. I don't take back a lot of my criticisms, but I'm sorry that I was harsh about it. I want to apologize to Nick Maniotis for always trying to say that Sami Zayn could be the next Daniel Bryan. You got lucky on that one. Like we all knew he could have been, but the fact that it happened, that was like
he kept that torch going when a lot of us just let it die out.
Yeah, we're like, no, Sammy's great, and I do think he was perfectly cast as a heel because we wouldn't have got to this otherwise. He wouldn't have gotten to this boiling point of being over. I want to apologize to don't apologize to Jeff Hardy. I'm sorry, you still have a job. Yeah, a little premature there. But anyway, on a serious, but not really serious, more of a gooey, let's talk about how great this is note. Would you also like to just throw up about how great this match was?
I want to throw up a little bit for that, but in general, no, this was incredible. They got me so many times that they actually get me. I was terrified Sammy was going to take the pin. He was either going to get, he got rolled up at one point. Dom used the ropes at one point, or when Priest hit that gnarly, I forget what the name of the move is, that choke slam, that sit out choke slam that he hits.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my god, there were so many moments that I'm like, this is it. Sammy is going to lose them the titles, and the last person that was defending him is going to be done with him. Or Jay lost it. Jay, who's now in hot water for standing up to Roman and Roman's decisions, he loses the belts. The weaker Uso, because that's what Roman has been putting in his brain. Man, I was just, they got me on so many occasions. And then when they hit that finisher together, I was with Sammy. I didn't even fucking care about the pin. Usually I'm the first person, pin him, pin him, pin him. I didn't care. It was, yes, they did it. They're a team. And that was it. And then I made the same note. I'm like, why is Jay holding one set of belts? Why is Jay holding the Raw belts and Sammy's holding the SmackDown belts? Why? They usually do 1 and 1, but that's going to be the story. They're going to split those championships up. And I don't know if it's going to start with SmackDown. I don't know if it's going to start with Raw, but it's already there. Sammy's held the tag team titles. That's where they're going most likely. And I've been prepared for that for the last few months. I've been mentally prepared with the Kevin Owens of it all, that it's going to be Sammy and KO going for the tag titles against the Usos, and probably Cody or maybe Rock going against Roman for the world title. But while I was always okay with it, it's like you just said, this story just made it the right choice in some ways.
Yep.
And I mean, hey, if Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble and goes on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I am not going to complain. But this feels just as important now. This feels just as big now. And we saw magic happen over that first hour of Raw.
Which was commercial free, by the way. Which I didn't notice.
I didn't realize either. Holy crap.
Which explains why it all went to the bloodline. But it was, it was, I don't want to stop talking about it, but like, we'll be here for 2 hours. Like,
I know, I get it.
Because it was an hour of the show. So like, it was just, it was so beautiful. It was so perfect. Okay, real quick. You specifically, please, can you start working on like a video essay about a Sami and Kevin Owens story, because I feel like we can hit that mark, we can get on that, because I feel like it's about to come to a nice tipping point where it's like, like from their start and wherever they actually started.
It would be NXT because Kevin had a different partner before Sami.
That's true, but they knew each other before NXT. They did. They knew each other from Canada. It's like there's something there. But like, work on that, please. We should jump on that. Because it needs to be done. But I guess we gotta move on to other shit. Fantastic. 11 out of 10 fucking segment. Beautiful. I literally no complaints, only slight digs here and there and good fun. Because that's what this was, a roller coaster, and I love roller coasters. So I loved it. We had a cute little APA segment where Corbin was on a list, and it was all good. Godfather was there, Ron Simmons was there. It was great. It was all good stuff, cute, harmless, fun little, the kind of segment you expect at these.
Yeah.
But not offensively bad. So that's good. Those are wins, and we take those.
I love the evolution of the APA's poker game. They turned it into a full-on casino, and that feels like character development. And I actually got a chuckle out of
You're John Blatner in the house.
You're
I got such a chuckle out of that when they did that. When they walked through the door and you see them looking around, like, oh, it's you own the place now. Wow, you really spent. But all you see is like the pillar of like a
yep.
staging arena before they cut to like the lounge.
It was
Like, that was a
beautiful.
small little details. Like, oh, I like that. Which the show was filled with a lot of small little details. Just like, oh, I like that. But so after that, LA Knight comes out and he cuts a promo, and I could best describe this promo as him saying words, but doing it so fine and so decently that he won me over. I think
Okay.
LA Knight is a fantastic lower mid card guy in that regard. Good for you, kid. You're probably 10 years older than me. And oh God, okay, again, speaking of roller coasters, right? LA Knight is winning me over a little bit, making me think he might actually beat Bray Wyatt to further Bray Wyatt's descent into darkness. So I think that's a possibility at the Royal Rumble. We'll talk about it more during the week. Look out for that. Probably Thursday. Sorry, Rev. He is interrupted because he says all those legends in the locker room, they're all living in the past. Bray Wyatt's living in the past. He came out in the Firefly Funhouse on SmackDown. So if any of you guys living in the past want to come out here, I'll make an example out of you, whatever. I'll give you a little preview of the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match on the Saturday's Royal Rumble.
I hate it.
I love it. Oh, it's so bad.
This amazing concept just feels so hollow now.
Amazing concept. This match is gonna suck, bro. There's no way it's good. There's no way.
Concept though. The delivery is going to be as bad as probably Bray versus Randy 1, but the concept of it sounded interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I can see that. Anyway, he's interrupted by a legend, of course, because it's the kind of Raw for that. It's Raw 30, Raw 25, Raw 1000, Old Timers Day, Hall of Fame Day, Pseudo Legend Day, Alicia Fox Day. All these, any excuse to bring out a legend. Where are the Bella Twins? Were they even there? I thought
they were advertised, which was weird, I think.
Well, a lot of things were advertised on the show and didn't happen. But we'll get into that even more. He's interrupted by the Undertaker.
Gong,
cool.
Gong.
But plot twist. There's a couple dongs. There's usually a lot of dongs at wrestling shows, but there's a couple dongs, and all of a sudden the music changed. And it's not rolling, but it is American Badass. It is American Badass Taker. And the idea of that got a pop for me.
Yeah.
Actually seeing it made me really sad. I didn't like it because, okay, first of all, they have the camera on the stage. You see the front wheel of the bike peek out and almost like get stuck. And it's like really sad. It's like, oh, you can't get your... It happens, man. You're of that age, like it's a little sad. And this old man comes out trying to look fucking tough and badass, and like he just came from the Capitol, and he comes strolling down, and he pathetically circles the. It's just sad. I didn't like seeing it. I like Taker. I don't love Taker because I'm a Kane guy, and Kane's never said anything that made me. Make me dislike him.
The character never has that.
Yeah, the character never has. Kane's fucking perfect, 100%. Always cuts a good promo, but doesn't do podcasts. You would think of the two, one would be on Joe Rogan's podcast and not the other. But he rolls around the ring. It's kind of sad. And LA Knight again wins me over. I like the promo he cut. With Taker saying, hey, I heard what he said on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I agree with you. Those guys are soft back there. He's like, but I'm not like those guys. I'm not one of those guys. So I'm going to give you a pass. I'm not going to make an example out of you, but hey, and then he's like back into the ring, but promoting the match. He's like, stay tuned for the pitch black match on fucking the Mountain Dew pitch black match on Saturday. I'm going to do it Bray Wyatt. And out comes Bray Wyatt. And I like the light in here. I like the effects here. I like the music. I liked everything about it. He has the lantern next to him. Knight retreats because he spent the whole promo saying, how can I be scared of this guy? He plays with puppets. He's an incel. Because as much as LA Knight won me over, he just sprouts fucking generic buzzwords that I'm like, fine, whatever. JBL's doing the same thing, but at least I got an idea of what LA Knight is, and I didn't dislike it here, because I really don't watch SmackDown, so I haven't been getting too much of it. But he slowly heads back towards the ring. He slides in the ring, and Taker grabs him by the neck like he's gonna hit a choke slam. But Bray gets in the ring, and this is where the segment was me back again. He gets back in the ring. Bray gets in the ring. Taker looks at him, offers up LA Knight. Bray hits a Sister Abigail. They look at each other. Taker walks out, whispers in Bray's ear. Fantastic. Love that detail. Stupid that he was the badass for that. Should have been the dead man, but whatever. That was cool. Fun use of a legend. Good way to use it. LA Knight is the underdog here in a way, or he's the heel that's going to get the beating he deserves. So it's okay to do this. In this case, it's not a legend making someone look worse, particularly because, like I said, he won me over in this. So he still looked good coming out of this to me. Fun stuff. I really like that acknowledgement. Taker made me so sad. I can't stress that enough. It's never hit me like that before. Like, even the botch match with Goldberg didn't like leave that feeling.
Because you could blame it on Goldberg. Like that we were able to blame on Goldberg. Like that was his fault. But
yeah,
this was tough.
This is the point of the show where I realized Brock Lesnar guy was, of course, in the crowd. I noticed him when Undertaker was coming out. But what did you think about this?
I liked it a lot, and I agree with you. The American Badass stuff was tough. Like, again, oh my God, American Badass. We've been wanting that forever, and they never gave it to us when we wanted it. But I loved the American Badass. And by the end of Taker's run, when he had lost both Manias, I was ready for him to just be American Badass Taker again.
I can understand that.
But I mentioned it in our chat, but I'll share it here. There is for me a small appreciation of Taker being American Badass here. They didn't acknowledge it the way they should have, but Bray's whole shtick right now is he doesn't know who he is. He's going through a character change. He's going through a crisis of identity. So this is the first time we're getting Bray Wyatt, the person, so to speak. So for him to be interacting with an Undertaker who isn't the dead man, it is a nice balance to that. It is a nice balance to, this isn't Bray Wyatt, the cult leader. This isn't Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, or Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy, or Bray Wyatt, the guy who had weird powers for like 2 weeks when he kidnapped Taker and Kane. This is just a dude. And I like that aspect of this Taker meeting this Bray for the first time. But they didn't do anything with it. And maybe they will. Maybe that's what Taker was whispering to Bray. Or maybe that's something we're never going to know, what Taker whispered to Bray. I have a feeling because they made such a big deal of that shot that it will be carried over either on SmackDown or down the line. But I love that aspect, even if I do think WWE could have maybe played that angle up a little bit more. So this is the first time Taker and Bray have ever been on the same side of anything. They've always feuded. They've always been on opposite ends of the feud, with Taker usually coming out on top. So this felt like the passing of the torch that Bray never got when Taker was actively on the roster.
Okay. So let me stop you right there as you finish your thought. And your great, fantastic point. I think you're right. I didn't think about it like that. It was a whole new perspective, and I appreciate you telling me that.
Thank you, sir.
That being said, that just made me wish that he did this as the Fiend and just destroyed Taker like 2 years ago as the Fiend, because that was a lot of what the Fiend was about. But that's cool, and that is a really, really good point. That's part of his closure. That'll help his character development, which is a really good point. Real quick though, who do you think Taker is voting for, DeSantis or Trump?
I think he would vote DeSantis.
I don't know. I kind of think so too. But you never know. Life, like Raw 30, is full of surprises. We got another poker segment. I don't care about this one. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't write any notes for it. But there'll be another one later. But anyway, where it all ties together. You know, people were there. Alpha Academy, the OC. Anyone? All right. I apologize to Nick Maniotis earlier. And now I'm going to say, yeah, good luck with your boy Johnny Gargano. He's a fucking background player in the poker segment. All right. He ain't doing shit.
I mean, he's hurt. He's hurt.
He's never winning anything. Maybe he'll win a mid card title, but it's a tough competition right now. So anyway.
So let me ask you though, just quick tangent. We never go on tangents here at the Mark It Down podcast. Knowing what we know now and how he's been used in WWE,
he should have gone to AEW. Yes,
you think so? I see. I agree, but I don't know how much higher up on the card. I think he'd just be used better, but I don't think he'd be any more valuable in AEW. I don't think he's valuable. I love Gargano. I recognize he's Mr. Wrestling. I don't know where he's most valuable in the wrestling world. Maybe Ring of Honor, but I don't know.
No, you can't say that nowadays. You're telling me you don't want to see Johnny Wrestling versus Orange Cassidy, or Johnny Wrestling and Candice LeRae versus Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander?
I've been wanting Johnny Gargano versus Bryan Danielson for like half a decade now, and I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to get that match.
And there's only one person to blame, and it's Johnny Gargano. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say about the poker segment. We got to get on to this is where the show starts getting. It's already gotten a little negative for me. This is where it really starts diving off a fucking cliff. So it's time for the cage match. The cage match that was advertised last week. The cage match that was set up by a really great promo segment last week that we didn't get to talk about because of that storm that took out both our internet, so we couldn't be here last Monday. But it was a great promo where they basically established the crux of the feud, that Bayley is jealous of all of Becky's success and thinks that should have been her spot, even though timeline-wise it doesn't make sense. But, you know, it was a really, really good that made, you know, brought the feud was always good to decent to good, but like that brought it to a whole nother level. And then she goaded her into a cage match, and we didn't get the cage match. They damage control jumps her for the bell. Only saving grace is that Becky was a smart enough babyface to realize it was coming and started fending them off. But you know, numbers game caught up, and they just beat the shit out of her and laid her out in the ring. And the match never happened. They hit a triple, and this is a side complaint on my complaining. They hit a triple team move on her as like the finishing touch or the finishing statement. And the camera was fucking focused on Adam Pearce trying to open the fucking door. Like, bro, this shit. Fire Kevin Dunn, bro. Why are you keeping this dead weight around? Holy shit. Anyway.
I'll never understand it.
Yeah. Especially because he was a Vince guy. He was not a Stephanie Triple H. That was a whole report that he was like, anyway, whatever. Yeah, they jump Becky, lay her out, and they stand tall. We never get the match. Fuck, this was dumb. You advertised this is one of the big selling points. Again, to use my friend Kevin as an example, he's like, I think I'm gonna check out Raw 30. There's a lot of good stuff. You got the cage match and you got the ceremony. He's like, it looks actually kind of interesting. He's just a diehard AEW guy at this point. You know, like his favorite thing from WWE in the past couple of years was Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. You know? But we didn't get the cage match. I thought this was really dumb. In theory, I don't hate this. Like, I am okay with being like, fuck you, I'm just going to beat the shit out of you in the cage. But like, why couldn't you just have the match anyway? Have Becky be like, oh, like, I don't care, I'm going to do it. And then she loses because she got beat up before the match. Or just have the match, have her overcome the odds and be booked strong going into the Rumble and finish the story. The promo last week set this cage match to seemingly be an end point of the story. Instead, the story is going to be dragged out longer than it needs to be. I don't think it's going to pay off at the Rumble because we don't have an advertised match for the Rumble unless they do it on SmackDown, which is dumb because neither of them are SmackDown superstars. And it's not SmackDown 30 on Friday. It's for it to have wild crossovers. I guess it's the go-home show. You can do it. But again, still dumb. The story's going to keep going forward. Could have just ended so they can move on to set up their WrestleMania programs. And also, you're just advertising the match, and not doing it. It's always shitty, and it's one of the more advertised, more hype matches because it's a cage match. And there was other shit on the show that didn't need to be here that you could have given them the time to have this. Like, my fucking marksmanship, I guess I'm gonna call it, aside. Like I feel a little robbed here. I'm like this. I was really looking forward to this, and now it's got to continue, which I'm sure it'll actually be good. I'm not saying, oh, this feud's dragging. It's only been going on for like 2 months. It's fine. But it just felt like it was coming to such a natural end just to be cut short. And this is like a big show. Like, you didn't need to do this. And to skip ahead a little bit, the match that happens after this didn't need to be there at all. So like this could have happened. The main event was kind of whack, and that could have had time cut. This could have happened. There was no need. I don't buy for a second the time constraints was a valid excuse for this to happen. If I was Bailey or Becky, I'd be kind of pissed, honestly. I don't think anyone looked that great coming out of it. I think damage control is too much of damaged goods that even Becky can't really save them at this point. I thought she was starting to set it up when she was planting the seeds for them to betray each other. But I don't know. This is bullshit. What do you think?
After tonight, I think I know the road to WrestleMania for the women's division.
Yeah, and if you think the road involves this story being dragged out to Mania, I'm being annoyed. But
I don't think it's gonna I don't think it's gonna go all the way to Mania for all of them. But I weirdly now think Becky's gonna win the Rumble. And
I really don't think that at all now. That's funny. You go. I mean, I hope you're right.
So Becky has two options. Becky's either gonna find a partner and go after the tag titles, which we've all agreed it's beneath her at this point. The only saving grace is that she would elevate those belts, but the moment she loses them, they go back to being nothing. But either she goes for the tag belts, going to Mania for the tag belts, or she wins the Rumble, eliminating Bailey. They have a match at whatever the next pay-per-view is, Elimination Chamber, whatever it is.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
And then Becky goes to SmackDown and challenges whoever the SmackDown champ is, whether it's still Charlotte or Ronda, who gets it back somehow. I don't know. And on the Raw side, Rhea wins whatever number one contenders match they do. Again, assuming it's Elimination Chamber, she just wins the chamber and then gets the shot against Bianca at Mania. Presumably Bianca if Bliss doesn't take it, which I don't think she does.
Come on.
We got to present all the possibilities. But yeah, I think that's the road for all the women now at this point.
I think there's a chance of that. And I kind of hope it is for a few reasons. One, I love Becky. But two, as much as I really want Rhea to win the Rumble. So I'm not like, if Rhea wins, I'm not gonna be upset. But I also want to see her run through an Elimination Chamber, because you know what? Yep. I'm gonna go on the record. I'm gonna defend a relatively unpopular booking decision. I loved when Shayna ran through the.
I know. I agree.
I just would have done it better. Just like, don't have her standing there doing nothing for as long every single time. Cut down that time a little bit. Now we've learned we can do it perfectly now. Like I was a big fan of that. I would like to see it done with someone who's more, because the thing there was Shayna was dead weight at that point already. And everything I'm saying is going to sound like extreme bias and speculation, but Charlotte ruined Shayna. It did, like, Becky didn't ruin her by beating her in Mania. She was already ruined by that point by not winning the Rumble, coming out number 30 and having Charlotte fucking bicycle kicking on the fucking rope. She looked terrible in that situation. And that was it from there. It was all downhill from there. And I only bring that up because I'm bringing some next point, because you said Charlotte makes everything worse, because she's clouding up that, because no one really wants another Becky Charlotte match. And that's just going to cool off Becky even more than facing Damage Control kind of has. Charlotte's presence makes everything worse, because she is this cumbersome object that just gets in the way of everyone's path and kills momentum. She is whatever the spikes the police call it, like to blow out tires on. Like, she is that for this division. So her winning the title has just made everything muddier and, quite frankly, worse, which we'll get into more later. But that could be the case. Like I said, I think Rhea's the front runner, especially now that the Ronda's not champion. So for me, Becky winning seems a lot less likely, especially because it doesn't feel like Ronda's coming back to get a rematch at the Rumble. But we'll see. I don't know, because of what happens later, I think we're just gonna get Rhea Becky in a singles match, not for a title. But we'll get into that later. We'll come back to that. Little Fedgini is in the chat. 68. What's up? I don't know who you are, but what's up? But yeah, we're all on board for Rhea winning the Rumble. I'm not gonna have any complaints here about that whatsoever. It's just this was kind of bullshit. This was have the cage match. There's no reason not to have the cage match. It's not the time to do that. This wasn't the week to do that. So like we had one women's match. It was like 4 minutes of subpar action. Like just this should have main evented. Fuck the fucking the return. I understand why, but fuck that match main eventing. Anyway, to move on. Without saying what the segment was, how did you feel about this next segment before I explain it?
Was the next was that a women's segment?
No. Unless I'm skipping over it, but
no, I don't remember.
It was a segment that led to a match.
The DX segment.
I just said without saying what it was.
Oh, I thought you didn't want me. Like I thought you didn't want to say it, and I had to guess it.
Oh no, okay. See, cross each other tonight, but yeah, I feel weird about this. This was so bad, but I liked it. It was like so bad, but I really liked it.
The DX of it all was bad. The DX of it all was bad, and I will still pop for DX, but it was weak. Kurt made it good. Teddy Long made it great, and Seth being so over is like the cherry on top of all of it, I think, right?
So I'm gonna spend one more time on this than need be. Sorry, James. I'm sorry, I'm James. Sorry, Vincent.
There you go.
You got it. That's a first name, a last name, and a middle name. That's crazy. Anyway, DX comes out. No daddy ass, no star of DX, no most over person in DX currently, Billy Gunn, because they just don't want to mention that he works for AEW. Who's the petty? Like, okay, all the praise of Triple H, and I'm about to do some praise on Triple H. He has that pettiness in him too, and he's making bad booking decisions like the cage match stuff too. But anyway, DX comes out. Kurt Angle's there. No one's acknowledging it. The commentary like, is that what? Okay, it's great. It's interesting. It's intriguing. Road Dogg, guy of very bad opinions, guy who constantly puts foot in his mouth, guy who I think secretly wishes he was more like Dax Harwood, guy who tried to defend the booking of Charlotte Flair in 2018 when Becky Lynch became the man, guy who definitely hates the fans. Guy who hates Bret Hart, apparently, which explains why he doesn't like Dax. Kind of weird how that goes hand in hand. Guy who doesn't like CM Punk, which no one doesn't like CM Punk. Everyone likes that guy. He has a dog. He eats cupcakes. He's relatable. Guy who called out Triple H in a shoot interview on TNA, if I'm not mistaken. Guy. But guy who was very good with his catchphrase.
Damn right.
Started spouting off that catchphrase. And all that shit, all that I'm making fun of him for, faded away. That's the difference. Like, if you're good at this, let the bullshit go. Like, I don't really care. If Braun Strowman was better, I wouldn't take him to task so much on his stupid shit he says. But like, Road Dogg's that good at stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, if you just do this. I loved when they won the tag titles in 2014.
It was so crazy and silly, but it worked.
He starts spouting off, and he goes to introduce Billy Gunn, and he turns and he sees Kurt. And again, it's like really corny, but I liked it. It got a chuckle out of me. And then Kurt's just there all looking stupid, like, I always wanted to be in DX. And it's just good. They try to carry on, and they're interrupted by Imperium of all people. And oh boy, did my gut.
I got so worried. I got so fucking worried.
The timing of it, it's just, again, the whole the Dak shit where Road Dogg's only like what 3 weeks old, and then
Yep.
this happens, and it's like, oh, like they're gonna, oh no. But I'm be honest, I wasn't as worried because I'm like, Triple H loves this man
Yeah.
so much. He like no one's a bigger Gunther fan, and his name is Gunther, guys. Let it go. Walter's a bad name. Gunther's better. Move on. He lost the stupid last name. We never got the Nazi reference. Gunther is a better name. Someone had to be the hero to go against this freaking terrible mob mentality, this weird hive mind that loved the generic first name Walter. Gunther's better. Gunther is even better. He comes out, he says, you've been making a mockery of this business for years. I love you, Dad, but you've been making a mockery of this business for years. And we're bringing back honor to the ring. And we need you guys got to get out of the ring unless you're going to do something about it. And that at this point I already knew. I'm like, okay, I know exactly where this is going. And this will soften me up to enjoy it more. Triple H gets in his face. We get the stare down, the crowd pops. We get that moment. And then in that very, very good, sometimes corny, but when done right, very good DX comedy time in, he goes from having his tough guy face saying, well, I'm retired, and backs away.
Yep.
He's like, Sean, crowd gets a little HBK chant going. Sean's like, well, I'm old. I can't do it. X-Pac, bless his heart. You couldn't hear a word he said, but he's not going to do it either. And then Road Dogg starts, and he's like, who am I kidding? I'm not going to fight this guy. On paper, corny, very easy.
Yep.
Execution, very good. Charmingly corny, I would say, which is a fine line. It's hard to do. And DX has had some of the worst fucking segments, and they get way too much praise for how many bad segments they've had. Like all of the 2006 run, all of the 2008 run, besides I Kick Stan. And
I mean,
what happened to your accents? No,
Vince likes cock. Come on.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I made 2 ball jokes in this episode. I don't really like dick humor. I don't think it's that funny. It doesn't do anything for me, which is accidentally in line with the type of humor I'm dismissing right now. But I thought it was very, very well done. And they're like, oh, Kurt will do it, and they have a little huddle without Kurt. They nail the timing of all looking out of the huddle to look at Kurt and then turning back. Again, it's like, if you hated this and you didn't think this was funny, I don't disagree. I think you're actually right. But for some stupid reason,
it got you.
Like, yeah. they everything about it got me. And they're like, oh, so none of us are going to fight him. What are we going to do? There's no one here to fight him. Very tongue in cheek, very, again, corny, but self-aware, and at least leaning into it instead of pretending otherwise. And out comes Seth freaking Rollins. Not upset at all. His wife just got fucking assaulted in a steel cage 5 minutes ago. Singing his song, crowd going nuts. DX starts half-heartedly singing it towards the end. And he comes out and they're like, but there's only one of you and there's 3 of them. What are we going to do? Out comes the Street Profits. The best, but somehow one of the best underrated theme songs in modern day WWE. I love it. It gets me hype every time. They come out. Just remember what these guys looked like a year and a half ago. They've both gotten fucking jacked, but they come out and we're like Road Dogg again. I fucking terrible opinions. Not even real life shit, just wrestling wise, terrible opinions. But he's good at the job. And a very corny, again, not funny to many people, but in the high it was on for this show, not literal high, just from the emotional roller coaster the show's taking me on. It's just like, okay, what now? There's 3 of them. Like looking at Triple H like a kid, like, what now? What happens now? Triple H, again, getting meta, but this time not as corny, but more inside baseball instead, says, hey, what are you looking at me for? This booking thing is hard, okay? It's not, it's not as easy as you think. Like you can't just make a match. Like I need someone to make sense of this. And then that's when Teddy Long comes out, and he says that they're going to go one-on-one with the Undertaker, and then Undertaker comes out and he beats them all up, and it's a terrible segment. But in all honesty, we get a match. The match is good because Seth Rollins is in it, Imperium is in it, the Street Profits are in it. It's fantastic. The baby faces win. This did not need to happen. It could have just been a brawl. Why didn't we have the cage match? Why do we have this instead of the cage match? I get Seth needs to be on the show, but did he? Like, honestly, could you just save him for SmackDown for the end of the show, which is going to end with everyone brawling and throwing each other over the top rope? Like, have him, like, this didn't need to happen. You could have the cage match. That being said, it got a lot. The segment could have happened. The match didn't need to happen. Give the time to the cage match. Segment was bad, but I enjoyed it. I guess I'm bad. I don't know. What did you think of it?
I thought it was fun. I said it in our chat, and it's probably just a me thing. I had a panic attack that they were going to bring Vince out.
Oh no! I just thought you were going to have a panic attack because they were going to get buried.
Oh no, that was scary in its own right, But you are right. I should have had faith in Triple H in that regard, but I was terrified that Vince was going to come out and book whatever they were going to book, and that would have been it. Because no matter what, people will boo Hulk Hogan. They are still cheering Vince McMahon. And I'm very grateful that did not happen. It was fun. I agree. I am very happy for Dawkins and Ford, who just look like units now. Like Tez was always in good shape. He was always in great shape, but he looks bigger now in like a good way. And Dawkins, who was never like out of shape, he looks a lot tighter now. And I think they both look great. And man, Seth just getting the music right before the curb stomp. How is this guy? Like, he's got to be what, the number one or number two babyface in the company?
I mean, if he's number two, it's only behind Sammy, not anyone else. But despite contrary opinions, but. Yeah, good stuff. I just didn't think it needed to happen. I was bitter after the advertised match. We got this improv.
Yeah, no, you're right. You are absolutely right.
But Seth is great. Haha, to name my friends who didn't believe me when I was like, this guy's the best guy in the Shield. But I've been saying it for like weeks now, but he's the best wrestler in WWE. It's undisputable now. No one has better matches than him. No one wrestles the WWE style better than him. AJ Styles did in 2016-17, but
he's kind of coasting.
Yeah, he hasn't had a chance to do anything in a very long time. But fine stuff. Also, okay, real quick about the match. Rollins flipped out of the power bomb into a pedigree so beautifully, like the smoothest thing I've ever freaking seen, which is why he's like the best wrestler in WWE. He's not Orange Cassidy or Luchasaurus or anything, but he gets the job done. Oh, also King was on commentary. He sucks, but he was there.
He really does. I will say one little bit. Montez Ford is almost too athletic for his own good. When he hit that outside dive, I was friggin' terrified.
Oh yeah, he's also, his body mass has changed so much that he's got to, adjust for that.
Yeah.
You don't fly through the air the same way when you have that much more muscle,
Nope.
And he might be trying to overcompensate a little bit. But anyway, all right. So the show, now it's just been all downhill since that first hour was so magical. It's made us all believe the show was phenomenal when it was just an amazing first hour and coasting from there to bad in certain cases. And we're going to get into bad real quick because, here comes forcing his way through the entrance, which is very unlike him, is Ric Flair. He comes out, he cuts a promo. I swear to God he said words, but I cannot tell you one of them. I'm sure he cried. I don't care. I can't listen to the guy. And that's not even because I dislike him as a character. It's because he's hard to understand, because he shouldn't be doing this anymore, which is okay. It's okay to hit that age where he shouldn't be out there anymore. He shouldn't be talking into a microphone anymore. He shouldn't be taking bumps. But he also says a lot of stupid shit, mainly wrestling related shit, and then there's outside shit too. But again, there's no real world consequences for these sort of things. So why bring him up here? He introduces his daughter, and I swear to God, I'm not being biased here, but there was like fucking barely a reaction. Like, I dislike Charlotte, but she normally gets a reaction. This was a very muted reaction to, your like first biggest star in your eyes, but really like probably third biggest star in everyone else's eyes. And then she cut a promo again. She said words for sure. They weren't good. But the thing is, she articulated them well. I understood them. They were boring. They didn't matter. She mentioned that Raw was still her show, which is just not objectively not true. She has spent like 8 months on Raw in the past 4 years. Like, it's just not true. But it's forced because we had to force this interaction between her and Bianca Belair. Person feuding with Alexa Bliss comes out to feud because she, it's like, oh, you're blonde. You're probably my opponent at the Royal Rumble. You've won more titles than you should have. You're probably my opponent. You guys are basically the same height. But anyway, did Bowling for Soup write a song about Charlotte, or was that Alexa Bliss? Anyway, bad song, by the way. She comes out, she cuts a promo. It's fine. She says words, but they're better, but like not much better. It's fine. And it's like, oh, it's supposed to be this. Oh, look at this. It's Bianca and Charlotte. We're gonna get this big, imaginative match between those two. And it's like, if you say it to me, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good. But actually seeing it, I'm like, I don't want to see it at all. But out comes Sonya, of all people, to save the segment. Out comes Sonya Deville. She didn't even save it, really. She just had 2 good burns on them, 1 each, or I would say. We're just like, what did you really have to fly your dad out here to introduce you on a show that no one wants you on? And like, thanks, Sonya. It's nice to be understood once in a while, But she talks a little shit and saying like, where's the gratefulness for me and what I've done? Where's my chance? What about all the people who are underutilized? And it's like, how is she the heel here? I get that she was like such an oppressive authority figure for so long that she has like heel heat to last for a little bit longer. But like, when the person that was that hated, that had that much kind of heat, is in the right, because Charlotte's not a baby.
It becomes really hard. Did you see that? Did you see that bit from SmackDown? I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago. So Charlotte is already champion at this point. She has a match that she wins, and the ref goes to hand her the belt.
Yes, and she snatches it, and then she's like, "Oh wait, no, thank you." Like, look, man. One or two people have told me that wrestling is fake. And I tend to not believe them because I genuinely think Charlotte's probably a bad person in real life too. But I usually separate the two, but with Charlotte, I'm like, I feel like there's not much separation there.
It's because of Andrade. That is 100%. Well, 50%. 50% Andrade, 50% her father.
I don't want to completely absolve her of guilt here. Also, I don't like to think that Andrade would impact anything that much. So, they cut a bad promo, and then there's like, they keep calling each other champ, and it's like, well, you deal with this champ. And I'm like, oh no, they're going to unify the titles in Mania, which I don't like in the women's case, because again, I've said it, unless they're going to make a mid-card title, just keep both titles and get the fuck over it. But if you are going to do it, I don't want it to be Charlotte versus Bianca. I don't want it. Charlotte shouldn't even be in a title match at WrestleMania. Put her in the fucking Battle Royal. Like, I'm so. Can you just have a program that's not about you for once? Anyway, I hope that's not where we're going. But
shout out to Navarro. Sup, Navarro? The first hour was amazing. We agree.
Yeah, Navarro, I agree. And to an extent, I disagree. The rest of the show wasn't good. That's what we've been explaining here. That actually really
I
wasn't good.
I just did a little research. I just found something out. The reason Becky's match got cut was because of the first hour. The segment with the bloodline went a little long. And they said we can either have a 2-minute match or no match. And they decided to go with no match.
That's not a good explanation.
I agree. I
You don't
agree.
have to have the Imperium match. You don't have to have this match at all. You can cut this match entirely. You can cut this segment entirely and just have Bianca cut a quick backstage promo. You can have Ric Flair just introduce Charlotte, they woo to the crowd and walk backstage. So many ways around this. Treat Becky like the top star that she fucking is. This is me being biased and conspiracy theorist here, but Triple H does not understand the commodity that Becky Lynch is in the women's division. But anyway, he has plenty of time to prove me wrong. But
before we continue, I would just like to thank everybody who's watching right now. If you like what you hear, we really appreciate it. We appreciate having you with us. We go live every week after Monday Night Raw, after Dynamite, and we do a bunch of weekly content. If you like what you see and if you like what you hear, give us a like. We really appreciate it. It helps us get a little more momentum. And subscribe if you want to hear us more. We'd love to have you. If you have any thoughts and comments, please leave them in the comment section, in the chat section. But thank you so much for being here right now.
Okay, so I would like to add on to that. Or if you don't like what you see or hear, hate watch us, and subscribe and comments. That
it gave Velma a second season.
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't watch it because I've heard the horror stories, but how dare you guys? After the rant, how dare you guys fucking put that out there? Okay, and it could have been great. It could have been like Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is great. Animated Harley Quinn on HBO, good stuff. It's so weird, but anyway, I haven't watched it, so I'm not gonna completely hate on it. But it sucks apparently. Bianca beats Sonya, who I'm pretty sure is still feuding with Charlotte for the title, so she looked really bad here, which again means Charlotte's feud is pointless, which means Charlotte being champion is everything. Charlotte is a fucking tornado that wrecks the division. The sturdiness, the stability, and the foundation of the division. Granted, SmackDown had no women's division, but now they have no women's division, and it's worse. And it's just Charlotte. Bad. And then she cuts a promo about Alexa, who also cuts a promo from a mirror in the locker room and seems bored still, despite having something to do now. I don't care. Can we move on? Do you have garbage. Miz TV's happening, but he gets the respect he deserves because he doesn't get an entrance, and then he's immediately stunned by Kevin Owens, and that's Miz's contribution to society. Again, didn't need to happen. And then KO cuts a promo saying he doesn't care. He's gonna take the title off of Roman no matter what, even if he dies. Try and he basically cut a promo saying I can lose, and like that's fine because I'm gonna die trying. So he already set that up. Good stuff, but weird they didn't interact with the bloodline, but I get it. That shit needed to breathe.
Yeah.
I stopped taking notes after this. I think it was a poker segment and then the main event.
Yeah, poker segment was
the IRS taking all of Corbin's winnings.
Which feels
like a meta commentary on the Bosch and the IRS. Yeah, it's fucking fine, sure. Like it wasn't funny. But
hey, Bray's dad was on TV. Good for him.
Yep. Wyatt 6, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. Yep, that's gonna be so good because we can take that guy seriously. We got the main event, which is a no D. Oh man, see what I mean, Navarro? Was the show really that good? Like I've stopped caring throughout this. I was I was so high. I was so positive and cheery and chirping about this, and now I'm just like, whatever. Main event happened. It was no DQ match for the US title. Austin Game Theory versus Robert Lashley. Whatever. MVP said we could celebrate after, and Bobby was like, I don't need your help. Omos sucks. Why are you still carrying him around or something? I don't understand why people. Bobby's not a good promo. His backstage interview was a little weak, but I get it. There's something that's just tangibly likable about him. It's his physique, but he doesn't do it for me the same way he does it for everyone else. But like he does.
I'm a big Bobby guy.
I'm a fan. I sound like I don't like him the way I rag on him, but like I am a fan. I don't see him like that. The match is whatever. Doesn't matter. They hit spots. They do things. Sure, they shouldn't have main evented. You could have cut this match short because it was going to end in interference. The interference could have just happened earlier in the match. The match could have started later.
Yep.
Then I fucking God, I hate the show. Even though the first hour was perfect. Whatever. They have a match. Lesnar interferes at the end. He F5s Lashley. Then he F5s Theory onto Lashley, and then that's that. So this is my problem with all of this. We had a 5-way or 6-way elimination match to determine this number one contender, which ended up being Bobby Lashley, who already faced Theory. He already feuded with Theory like almost a year ago now at this point. And that match was Seth Rollins, who literally just lost to Theory the week before and also was in that triple threat with Lashley and Theory at the pay-per-view, who also had matches with Lashley. So, that was a big part of this. So it's all been the same 3 people fighting for the US title for what feels like forever. 4 people when you count Ali, because he fought Lashley a couple times too, and then fought Theory a couple times too. And, Triple H doesn't know how to book Ali, and that's okay. He makes up for it in other parts of the show, I guess. But then we have these matches that like just... It didn't have Seth in it, so it's just not going to be as good as the Seth Theory match, because Theory is good in the ring, but he's not that good. And Lashley is good in the ring, but he's not that. He has a certain style of match.
Yeah.
He has to go that style of match. But this was all fine. It did not need to main event. I feel like the cage match that was a blow off to a blood feud would have been a proper main event, or the tribunal ceremony or the tag title match could have main evented. You could have flipped the order on this in a lot of ways, but whatever. My other gripe is that the ending of it means that we're going to get another Lashley Lesnar match. They weren't good. They were disappointing. We expected them to be better. Maybe you could say you thought they were good, but you definitely have to think that they were not as good as you thought they would be. They did not meet expectations because that match had expectations.
It did. It did. The first match ended because Roman interfered, and that's how Bobby got the win. The second match, Brock won. How again?
I don't know. It was in Saudi Arabia. I just know Lashley attacked him like a sore loser after the match, but somehow.
He rolled him up. He was hitting the hurt lock, and then Brock was able to like counter it into a pin. Which
are you sure he didn't counter it into an F5?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I didn't watch it. So.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't watch it either, but I'm trying to remember. And now this is going to be the rubber match, I guess. But I agree. They haven't lived up to the expectation. I don't think they've been. I think the first match was good. Just fucking finish. I'm hoping this one. This is going to happen at Mania. That's going to be the match. Bobby versus Brock at Mania. But I have more of a problem with the stupid ass builds. May I?
Sure.
So we already know how the Hurt Business broke up, even though they never should have. MVP then went with Omos, which again, in theory, makes sense because Omos needs the help and Bobby needs it less.
Sure.
The last couple of months, they've had Cedric Alexander teaming with Ali on like on main event and stuff. And then out of nowhere, they had him teaming with Shelton for that tag gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
So you have all these components of the Hurt Business back together. You have MVP trying to smooth out everything. It just makes Bobby look like the one who's stopping us from having a good time, even though Bobby's the good guy. I don't know why they're running it this way.
The only way I can justify it is, yeah, sure, it's the Hurt Business, and they were good. I think they were good for 2 months, and people equate that to them being fantastic. I think the Hurt Business was better before Cedric and Shelton were in it, when it was just Lashley and MVP originally. But you know, like when he first feuded with Drew for the title, and he lost, and MVP cut that promo, like, we will make sure that you lose that title, you know, like, which he did make. He kept his word on that. But the justification is that it would be the Hurt Business with Omos in it, and that sucks. That's objectively a worse version.
It is. But I mean, you have Bobby be the main event guy, you have Omos be the mid card guy, and then you have Cedric and Shelton be the tag guys. At least it's a fully formed stable. But
yeah, I don't know. Cedric and Shelton, that's another botched part of this, is that they feuded for a long time and then immediately started teaming against them. We're such fucking jobbers without each other. We might as well job together. It's like, I don't think there's any real, I don't want them to be revived, because I think they've been they've been damaged too much, but they can be as Goonies. And if maybe the Hurt Business is just a reunion for Brock Lesnar to have people to German suplex like feuds with Lashley again, which I don't think will be a Mania, but I don't know. Is there a Saudi show coming up?
No, but Eric seems to think they're only going to interact in the Rumble and that's it. And I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah,
even if they don't make it to Mania, there's no way that they don't have a rubber match.
I mean, I think there's a way, because it's WWE, but you know, they might even advertise the match and it won't happen. But yeah, we'll see. I just have no interest in it. But I mean, I guess it would be interesting. No, I don't want to see Brock in the Rumble, actually, because 2020 was great, but you can't do that again. And it'll just be more, I think, unless Gunther eliminates him. But I don't know. After tonight, I don't think it's going to happen. Well, let's see. Gunther's team lost tonight, and Lesnar was in the main event. I don't think it's going to happen anymore. Or it's a weird way
to get there.
Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah, see, the show was a roller coaster, because talking through it, I'm so down now. Where I was like, I was so happy before. This is weird. What a roller coaster of a show. What did you think of it overall?
I think you kind of nailed it before. I think that this was a show that, if you kind of reconfigure the structure of it, is a better show than what we ended up getting. I think if you make the Bloodline segment and then the tag match the main event, you send that crowd home ecstatic. I think if you want to start the show with Lashley and Theory, do that, and then the big thing that starts the show is Brock Lesnar's return. And then at the 9:00 hour, you have Becky and Bailey in the cage match, and it gets the time that it deserves, because it's not going to go over. The Lashley Theory segment's not going to go over. I don't know. I think there was a great show in here that we only ended up with a good show.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I guess they really had us in the first hour, but it was all downhill from there, with some nice bumps to ease the pain along the way. But yeah, it was an interesting show. I mean, definitely still a good show, definitely a noteworthy show, definitely a watchable show. It's just one where I'm like, so a few things I disagreed with, but usually in these shows, I hate all the nostalgia stuff, and that brings the show down. But for the most part, that wasn't the issue here, so that's good. But I think they did a better job using the legends tonight. I mean, I wouldn't have had Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair. there. I probably would have saved those spots for people like, you know, Alicia Fox and Summer Rae, and stuff like
They
that.
truly deserved it.
Yeah, where were the fashion police? Like I don't understand what kind of show are we running here. But yeah, great show. Thank you guys for watching. This is like outro stuff, so you're probably gonna start phasing out of the show and zoning out, and that's okay. So I'm just gonna say random stuff. Subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to Little Karibo. Watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. Watch some OG YouTube and watch it evolve throughout the years from like 2007 to 2021. Like that's amazing. That's unbelievable. What a time capsule. How many YouTube channels have made it that far? It's pretty much them, us. That's it, I think. I don't
We're
know.
pioneers. We're pioneers in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
we are pioneer supermarkets of the industry. But yeah, subscribe to our channel. We got Instagram, we got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got Tumblr, we got 4chan, we got Chat Roulette, we got Snapchat. Hit us up, talk to us, interact with us. We post memes on Instagram. I don't know
Some
what we
great
do on
ones
Twitter.
lately.
Yeah, I don't know who's been making them, but yeah, they've been okay. I don't know what we do on Twitter. On Facebook, we just get spam comments on our
A lot.
links.
A lot.
And that's about it. Yeah. So have a good night. Thank you for tuning in, Navarro. Thank you for tuning in, John, whatever, Eric, and anyone else that was there. Fettuccine, whatever, who's here.
Jinx boy.
Yeah, you guys are all okay. Maybe even decent. Have a good night. Get out.